Locked on Packers, Locked on Rams, a crossover Thursday. We finish up here. Travis Rogers, Locked on Rams. And Travis, score 30? Is that the plan? Like if you're the Rams, you feel like you got to score a bunch of points in this one.
Yeah, I mean, had we talked 2 weeks ago, Peter, I think I would have said that. Right now, I think you're going to have to find a way to get some stops defensively. How they do that, I'm not quite sure. I don't think they have the firepower to score 30 points right now. Kyren Williams has been really good. He scored a touchdown in 7 games in a row for the Rams. That ties a team record. He's been really good, but he can only do so much. And you look at what the Ram receiving core is right now. Really, no one has stepped into the void left by you're missing your 2 big guys in Kupp and Nakua. Demarcus Robinson has been relatively quiet. Tutu Atwell kind of saved the day against the 49ers. It was his best game as a Ram. He hasn't looked like that since. They're going to have to turn somebody over. They're going to have to maybe, the reason they beat San Francisco, they had a trick play. They had a fake punt. They had a big punt return. I think you got to get a little special teams lucky or play there. But I think somehow, some way, and it has not looked like they're capable of doing it, they're going to have to find a way to limit the Green Bay offense, to hold them into the low 20s if they're going to want to win this game. Because I think the Rams are going to have a very difficult time scoring more than 2 touchdowns. I really do.
Yeah. If I'm trying to, make a roadmap here for the Rams, I feel like it's Kyren Williams has 150 yards on 25 carries. And it's one of those games where you get 4 possessions every half.
Yeah, I was just going to say, limiting the possessions is key. And I was hoping that's what it might look like in Chicago. And it just didn't really. First half wasn't so bad. And the Rams, and this is another one of the keys to the game, I think, for the Rams, is when they get opportunities, they have to score touchdowns. They had the ball in the red zone 4 times in the first half. They kicked 3 field goals or 3 field goal attempts. They missed one along the way too. It's just, they really don't have a lot of opportunities, and the opportunities they have had, they've kicked field goals instead of scoring touchdowns.
So this is my key for the Green Bay Packers, and that is red zone offense. This has been a bugaboo for them this season. They're 23rd in red zone touchdown percentage. They score touchdowns less than 50% of the time. And when you don't have a good kicker, and the Packers, at least right now, do not have a good kicker, Braden Arvison, the rookie, they had to make the change late in the preseason process away from Anders Carlson, who was a nightmare for them last year. They just can't get this kicker thing figured out. I mean, this is one of those things that since Mason Crosby left, they've not had any answers. Mason Crosby was a Ram briefly there for a little bit. So that to me is the key, because it feels like the kind of game where if the Packers, to your point, if the Packers can score touchdowns when they get opportunities, and the Rams defense is just not good enough to not give them opportunities, they're going to have them. If they go 2 for 4 scoring touchdowns in the red zone, let's say, that's how the Rams can win. If they go 4 for 4, I kind of just don't think the Rams have enough to do it, barring some flukiness. That my secondary key would be no special teams nonsense.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, the fake punt, the punt return, the Packers, their coverage teams have been pretty good this year. They haven't made any other like wildly stupid mistakes yet.
Right.
But it's those kinds of things that can turn these games, a punt blocked here, those kinds of things. So it's score in the red zone if you're the Packers, and no special teams stupidity. Let's not say the name Rich Bisaccia during the game. And I think that's a good sign for Green Bay.
Yeah, I guess if you're trying to find a path for the Rams defensively, it would be, you mentioned it earlier, get pressure on the quarterback. They had 2 sacks taken off the board with defensive holding last week in the secondary, both by Jared Verse. If Jared Verse could kind of have his, welcome to the NFL nationally party and get 2 or 3 sacks and really blow up the game plan and get them off the field a couple of times, maybe a strip sack, something like that, because the back 7 of their defense, it's just, it is giving up a ton of plays, a ton of yards. The front 4, they're getting home. They're not getting a ton of sacks, but they are creating pressure. It's what's going on behind those guys that's the real soft spot.
Yeah, and just to put a bow on the red zone problems, the Rams are 28th in the NFL in red zone scoring, 41%. And the reason for that, and this is a trend around the league too, teams are able to move the ball right now because it's dink and dunk. They can do all that stuff, but then they get into the red zone and they just go, what do we do?
Nowhere to go.
And what you need in the red zone are horses. You need guys to just win. It can't just be scheme. It's too condensed. It's too crowded, and you need quarterbacks that can throw into tight windows. The Packers and the Rams each have that. The Rams right now, without Nakua, without Kupp, they don't have the dudes. And I think that's the bigger issue for them. The Packers are just not executing. They're shooting themselves in the foot. It's dumb penalties. It's Josh Jacobs fumbling as he's going into the end zone. Like, those are the stupid things. They have the talent to be a really good red zone offense. They just haven't done it yet.
I'll throw one guy in there for the Rams that could be that player time, that guy that could just win one-on-one. And I think this is why he's here. It hasn't happened yet. They really haven't used him much. Is Colby Parkinson. He's a big body, 6'7".
On my fantasy team, I'm waiting. I'm like, they've got no one else. Throw him the ball.
Nada. I mean, they really have not done much with him at all. But, it's the NFL. Weird stuff happens. And all of a sudden, that guy that has been nowhere, it's like, wait, he had how many touchdowns? Again, the Rams plan, if you are a Rams fan, and this is what I say on Locked on Rams all the time, my everydayers will certainly know what I'm about to say. In Sean McVay, I trust. If there's a guy that can find a way to get it done with half a team, it's that guy over there. He's going to be there. He's got his quarterback. He always has a chance.
There's the narrative competition is always something that you and I like to talk about. I don't know that it matters really. But it's something fun for us to say. The Packers are coming at this going, there's no way we should be 2-2. They should have won that Eagles game. And they had every opportunity against Minnesota, balls off their hands, stupid penalties, just some silliness. They deserve to lose. Like, let's be clear, but like, they had their chances. They feel like they're better than a 2-2 football team. They still have Super Bowl aspirations.
Sure.
I think they would love to say, hey, Sean McVay, we to pull an Aaron Rodgers, we own you. We still own you. And so I like this. I think they're going to come in focused. I think this is the kind of game where, and I have so much respect for Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. So please, Rams fans, don't take this the wrong way. I think those guys are incredible. But I think this is a game for the Packers to get right a little bit. I think the pass rush, we didn't even talk that much about that. The Packers pass rush, they ate the Titans lunch. They've been kind of meh in the other games. But guess what? This Rams offensive line is a problem. So I think they can do enough there. I think this could be one of those like 34-24 kind of games where the Packers make a little bit of a statement. The Rams go into the bye week licking their wounds. That's where I am right now.
Yeah, I think that score is probably about right. I don't know if the Rams can score 24 points as currently constructed. I think if they're going to win the game, it's probably 24. I think if they lose the game, it's probably something in the teens.
Yeah.
The offensive line is playing two backups. A seventh round rookie is their news. There's like you mentioned, it's very porous up front. The good news is probably the wrong word, but the thing is you got to win. And so it was San Francisco after coming into week 2. It was like, okay, you got to have this. And they found a way to get it done against their other arch nemesis, a team that has kind of turned them inside out for most of the McVay era, other than the NFC Championship game a few years ago. So hopefully the script remains the same. But if it does go Green Bay's way, and I agree with you, I think the Rams are going to struggle to win this game. Don't be surprised if all of a sudden a lot of Rams players pop up in a lot of rumors.